Hi guys, and today we are here to speak about container damages, my friends. What does container have to play a role? What is the role of containers and the damages that the container might have? I am talking about there are some holes in the containers. Either the container door is not closing properly. If you have noticed, there is a rubber, around a container door. What if that rubber in the container door, having some malfunction, right? So let's talk about a few things, my friends. As I mentioned earlier, in some cases, what happens is either it is a factory stuffing or it is the stuffing is happening at CFS. It might be, for example, in Chennai, it is mostly the container is getting stuffed in a CFS. In Karnataka, apart from Bangalore, because Bangalore has an ICD, otherwise in Karnataka, most places again the stuffing happens at Chennai and not in the factory. In Nagpur, the container stuffing will happen it can happen right at the factory because there is an Nagpur ICD. Wherever there is an ICD, or if your place of production is near to the port, at a lot of places you can have factory stuffing, right? When you say factory stuffing, friends, it is not easy in the sense that you can call container directly to your factory, but you will have to take certain approvals earlier. Your agent, your CHA will help you to get permission to stuff containers at the factory. Otherwise, if it is in a CFS, it is a custom zone, it is an export zone. So if you are sending your cargo there, then the regulations are very easy. You don't have to take permission for that. The CHA will do everything for you, right? Now, depending on where you are loading your container, stuffing your container, either at the port, CFS or your factory, you will have to check the container. First thing what to do, from the outside itself, when you see a container, you will get to know whether it is a new or an old container, right? Let's say it looks old. Because why? You can see some rust particles, you can see that the paint is faded, there is a container number written which is also not visible properly, the door handles look shabby, quite a few things, right? So the first thing that you need to do is, normally what people do is that you open the container, there is one person who goes inside the container and he closes the door. Once you do that, what happens is, this has to be done in the daytime. So once you do that, you can see that the container is dark inside, and through that darkness, if you are able to see any kind of hole, a ray of light coming inside, that means a container has a hole at some point inside the container. It can be near the door, it can be inside, it can be in the middle, it can be in the sides, right? So from inside you close the door, and then you can see if there is a hole because you can see a light coming in, right? So this is one step that you have to do, right? Two things here. Why should you do this? You should do this because even if your consignment is going to a country which is near to India, like Singapore, Dubai, the Middle East country, or if it is going to a very long destination like Africa, US, Europe, in the sea, the weather changes, it might rain anytime. Like in Singapore, it can rain anytime, it just showers and goes off. So if it's raining, and then the water will seep into your container. So checking that container holes becomes very, very crucial and very important, friends. So I said two things. One is this is one reason why we have to check the containers, close the door and see if there is any hole inside the container. And what should we do if we find a hole is the next question that we are going to answer. But even before that, how this container business works is that there are forwarders and shipping lines who actually own the containers, right? So your agent if you have booked the containers directly or your agent has booked it for you, the shipping line will give them a CRO, which is a container release order, which means here is an release order for your containers. Go to the empty container pickup yard and pick up those empty containers, is what the shipping line will tell him. The container line will tell him. Now what the agent will do, the agent will send his team member to the empty container yard to pick up the containers. And there, you know what he has to do? He has to choose the containers himself. Shipping line does not take, it is very, very sad, but shipping line does not take any guarantee of their containers. This is one of the worst part that we actually have, as of now, face. We will change that slowly for sure. But shipping line says that go to your shipping yard and just pick up any containers of ours. For example, if there are some, say, 50 containers and you want 5 containers, the agent will go there and pick up any 5 containers which he feels is looking good, and then he has to update it to the shipping line that I have taken these containers with these container numbers, right? And they don't take any ownership, my friends. So which means the agent has to do a good job of picking up the right containers. And then the container comes, either it is factory stuffing or it is a CFS stuffing. First thing, my friends, as I told you, is to somebody, to the agent, somebody, or your Geochem SGS staff who is at the time of loading, goes into the container, closes the door and finds out what is if there's any holes, etc. Now, if there is a hole, what should you do? Should you return back the container? Not in every case. If the damage is too bad, meaning if the damage is at the door and the door is just not closing, then it's a huge risk, because water can go inside, the fumigation will not work. Because you do fumigation, if there is a hole, then what is the use? The fumigation will escape from the hole, right? So these kind of issues will arise. If there is a small hole, a lot of people will just, this, like for example, this product called M-Seal, right? Which is available in any hardware store also. They actually close that with that product itself, with an M-Seal. It is okay to do that. But again, if the damage itself is too big, if there is a small hole, understood, we can do that. Sometimes it is not a hole, but it is a crack, and it is at the edge of the containers. So water will seep in when it is in the ship. The ship goes through rough sea, there can be water spillage, there can be a lot of things that can go wrong. And if your luck is bad, out of the thousands of containers, might be only your container will get affected. So this happens. We cannot take it by chance, right? So then these things is what we need to take care of, my friends. There might be container holes, there might be container cracks in the sides, and then there can be problem with the door. The door is not closing in properly, and if that is the case, then there is no point in using that container. And it's not also easy. If you tell your, because the agent knows, he has to again go through a lot of documentation to give back the container, bring another container, book, a vessel is booked. So a lot of time, people will not want to report it to you, right? So that is why we, appoint third-party surveyors, and also that at least somebody gives us a fair information, right? If your agent is good, he will definitely give you this information. So container damages play a lot of role. The second thing in this topic of container damages, my friends, what I want to mention is that a lot of times what will happen is that because these shipping lines don't take control and don't take ownership and responsibility of these containers, once the container is reached to the destination port, inside a port, when the crane is inside the port lifting your container and dropping it at the yard, and from the yard it is picked up and loaded onto a truck, which is going to then deliver it to the customer in that particular country, there can be handling damage of a container. The crane was lifting, but suddenly it slipped off and the container fell on the floor. There was some amount of damage. Or at the time of lifting, something has happened and it has gone, there is a crack in the container. Or when the container is being unstuffed at the destination, the floorboard of the container normally is made of wood. The floorboard cracks open. So then what happens is, when this kind of a thing happens, the container, when he is going to return back to the yard, to the shipping line at the destination port, the shipping line is going to tell him that, hey, this is damaged here, this is damaged here, and I am charging you a penalty of $200 or $400, $500. In my experience, I have faced sticker removal charges, my friends, when I started off, shipment to Singapore. You know what is sticker removal charges? It is very, very crazy. We put craft paper towards the side of the container and at the bottom of the container, right? So that, we don't want to directly load on the container, because we know that the container has gone through a lot of places, lot of products, lot of countries. There might be dirt inside the container. So we put craft paper on the bottom and on the sides. And this craft paper is stuck to the wall of the container by using a tape, right? And now, when it goes to the destination, the cargo is removed, and then it would have, that sticker is removed at the time of unloading, and some sticker remains there. I remember this shipping line charging us 30,000 rupees as sticker removal charges to the buyer, and the buyer says, it's not my fault, I am going to debit it to you. These kind of things happen. So sticker removal charges, then this container damages, floorboard damages, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. Then they will say, in some destination countries, what they do? Container washing charges. They charge your importers container washing charges. I mean, it's crazy. It is like saying that I am taking a Uber from point A to point B, and at point B, when I am getting down from the car, the driver is asking me for washing charges. Isn't he supposed to wash his own car? Because that's come under maintenance, right? If somebody has used it, he is supposed to maintain his car. So these containers are supposed to be maintained by the shipping lines, and they are very, very smart, and they want to pass on all these charges to the customer, right? I was told customer is a king, but it's not the case always, my friends. And the second thing is, if something comes loose, like a floorboard, they will charge, the shipping line will charge you of floorboard damage charge. Who is supposed to bear that? If I am in again the same car, I am pulling the seat belt to buckle in, and the seat belt breaks, am I supposed to pay for it? Because the car might be used for some 5 to 10 years by so many passengers, and the things go through wear and tear. Why should I pay for seatbelt damage, right? So if floorboard damages, why should we exporters or importers have to pay for floorboard damage? It has to be the shipping line which has to pay, right? Because it's gone through wear and tear. The container has gone through so many countries, so many products, so many buyers. Why should one buyer at a particular kind of go through these charges? It's very, very, very unfair. It is high time, I think, shipping lines take charge and responsibility for their own containers and for their own job. So I am just here to share with you my experience, my friends. I remember paying floorboard damages. I remember paying sticker removal charges. I remember paying damages, washing charges, all kinds of shit. So how do we face this? And one fine day, what I decided was, what I just told you as an example right now of a Uber car, seat belt being broken, should I wash the car or not? I put that same thing in a mail to that shipping line which was charging this, and they said, we are going to waive off all your charges. Because if you remain to be taken for a ride, we will always be taken for a ride, but this container damages, container charges in a life of an exporter will always keep coming. Hence, this was the topic for today. Thank you so much, friends, to join in. I hope you are liking the work that we do. Please let us know in your comments. Please try getting in touch with us. If there is any topic that I have left, please let me know. See you again soon. Bye.